One of the biggest challenging environments we walked into was an organization that had grown quite a bit over the last 15 years. They had a lone IT guy who put the first computer on the network and had built it into well over 100 employees, over 100 devices, and he did it all using free software, free this, free that, refurbished equipment, and they had an issue come up, and I think the leadership team realized, holy cow, this isn't the way we want to, this isn't a path we can keep going down. It goes back to the foundation that Jeremy spoke about earlier. You don't want a roofer to build your foundation. So they hired us to come in and do an evaluation for business continuity disaster recovery. That was at least what we went in with, to basically diagnose, document, and build a strategy to get them into a more stable, more standardized environment. But it was a situation where the IT guy had to work with us to get in to the network. He didn't want to turn over his passwords. It was his domain. He built it, he designed it, so he was very protective of his environment. And the leadership team told me he had to, and he threatened to quit. And actually, it was one of our IT guys instructed him not to do it and how it would impact his reputation moving forward. But situation where we had to come in and just redesign everything from the ground up. Had to start all over.
That's one we've seen a lot of times. I went on an appointment to visit a company. It's been several years back, but the owner called because he was worried about his IT guys. He had this feeling that he maybe was being taken advantage of because he didn't know enough about IT, and he just wanted a second opinion. Which, kudos to the business owner, because it takes getting over your own ego to be able to admit there's something about your own business you don't know about. But we went out, and me and another gentleman went out there, and we arranged it for a day when the IT guy was off work. He had a doctor's appointment. We were going to come in, take an unobtrusive look around the network, and give an assessment. And while we were sitting there having the initial conversation, the IT guy pulls up, because he somehow knew we were coming. So he pulls up, walks into the meeting, and just kind of plops down and says, "What's going on?" And the owner said, "Well, since you're here, I'll tell you what's going on. I called J-Mark in because I just want a second opinion. This IT runs my business. I can't sell my products. I can't service my clients if my IT's down. And you're the only guy that knows anything about it. So I want to make sure that we're doing things the best way we can, and we're protected in case something happened to you. So since you're here, help them, log them into the server, let them look around, let them figure everything out." The IT guy said, "No, this is mine. I built this. It's mine. I'm not letting them in." And the owner of the company said, "Well, I think you're losing sight here. It's mine. I own the business. Yes, you will." And this went back and forth for a little bit, and it's a little uncomfortable for me sitting in the corner over here, but they go back and forth, and the IT guy just puts his foot down and says, "I won't do it. It's not right, and I'm not doing it." And the business owner terminated him on the spot and said, "You don't work here anymore."
I think the statement was, "I won't give up my passwords. I will only give it up to the person who's replacing me."
Yeah. So, and it's the mentality of the IT person who thinks that they own it. At the end of the day, unless your name is on the documents, you don't own it. The business owner owns it. There's a CEO. There's an owner who has a financial stake. It's their house on the line. It's their reputation on the line, not the IT person. And it's really easy to let your ego take over as an IT person and think that you have a level of responsibility and ownership that's greater than what it really is. And in reality, you're just protecting your own skin. So, I always remember that story because of I hate to use the word bravery, but really the bravery that it took for the business owner to admit that he didn't know what was going on, and to say that he was going to make a change, that he was going to do something, even if it made his person uncomfortable. Ultimately, the person getting fired, that was his own choice. He made bad decisions and he didn't handle the situation well, but the business owner for every one that has the fortitude to do that, there are 10 more that are afraid to confront the IT person.
I think that IT hostage situation is one that we run into way too often. You know, when an IT guy, an IT person does something well, there shouldn't be anything to hide. They should be proud of it, and they should be anxious to get some positive feedback or to get some support in the environment, to get confirmation that the things that they're doing, they are doing well. If an IT person is in an environment and it is hoarding information or is being way too protective of the environment, it's probably because they know they're cutting corners. They are not doing something right, or they don't know what the hell they're doing, and they don't want to be exposed to that fact. Now, ultimately, if an IT guy wants, an IT person wants what is best for the business, they're gonna welcome an outside opinion, an audit or an assessment to come in to help them to make sure that they're doing all the things necessary to protect the business. The business continuity plan, the security of the environment, just even how the applications are set up is oftentimes done in a very poor way. I think one of the best attitudes that can occur in an environment like that, when the IT guy goes, "Oh, finally, I'm going to get some help." And we have seen that many times as well, where we have somebody who desperately wants confirmation because they're so worried because they can't possibly know everything about IT. In our environment, we're fortunate that we've got 80 engineers. We have subject matter experts all over the place in our organization, and they can come in and we can take our experts in business continuity, our experts in security and virus deployments and SQL environments and servers and Active Directory and just general design. We can take all of those subject matter experts, bring that knowledge to the table and to make sure that everything's done. There's no way a single person can do that, and ultimately I think that they feel nervous about it because they could be letting somebody down. Oftentimes what we find is that IT person has a lot of loyalty to the business owner, and they don't want to lose their job by admitting that they don't know what they're doing, but yet they also want to make sure that that they're making all the best choices on a day-to-day basis. So they're caught in this quandary of, well, I don't want to admit that I am ill-informed or uneducated or unqualified to do this job, but yet they do want to do right by the business owner at the same time, and so it creates this conflict. And so when the business owner takes the initiative and says, you know what, I'm going to come into the business and I'm going to come into IT and I'm going to make sure that things are being done well and that they're being done to best practice, it can provide a major sense of relief to the IT people involved.